and we got a lot to talk about, so we will not waste any time. Carm, good morning to you, man. How are you? And what games are we talking about today?
I'm doing good. Quiet weekend, but a profitable weekend in NHL, so I'm happy about that. 5% winner with the Islanders in regulation. So let's see if we can build on that. It's been a good run in the NHL. I keep battling Bryan, who's on today's show, for that. Who's the hottest in the last 30 days? Bryan retook the lead. But I think if we go back 31 days, Bryan, I leapfrog you by like a couple percent. But thanks for being on the show today. I'm having problems with one of my eyes, a bit of an infection. So I got Bryan, asked him if he would come on, and Bryan's like, I'll keep an eye out for you. Throwing in that little pun. So I really appreciate that, Bryan. We're going to talk Edmonton Oilers, Buffalo Sabres, Detroit Red Wings, Ottawa Senators, Andrew's prop playlist. We'll finish it off with Toronto in Utah looking to snap a 4-game skid. And then hopefully some show best bets at the end that can make you guys some money or at least some actionable info along the way. Bri, got to welcome you to the show. How are things? How was your weekend?
Everything is fine. I've been on kind of a sweeping run here. I swept 3 out of the last 4 days for my clients, and the day I lost was the day I got swept. I had Montreal as an underdog on my 5%. They lose that game 1-0. A really good hockey game, but didn't work out well for my clients and I. But everything's been going great. Looking over 20-7 run right now in the NHL, and 23-12 run overall in all sports. So. Everything's looking good, and looking forward to get you some winners today.
Yeah, listen, Brian, that's a tough luck loss because if someone said to you before the game, the Canadians will only allow 1 goal tonight, you would probably head to the bank to get a little more cash to hit the windows. I know I would. You don't normally see 1-0 losses in the NHL, but with that said, we're going to talk about a game that it would take a lot for this one to be a 1-0 final. It is the Buffalo Sabres at home facing the Edmonton Oilers. Bri, minus 190 for the Oilers as they hit the road for a 4-game East Coast trip. That's going to keep them pretty much in the state of New York. They got the Sabres, and then they have I believe the Rangers, the Islanders, and then they head over or under the bridge or through the tunnel to New Jersey as well too. So from a travel perspective, it's a good 4-game trip for the Edmonton Oilers, but they kick it off in Buffalo, minus 190, Sabres plus 160. Total here sitting at 6.5. How you breaking this one down?
Well, two teams that make it tough to play on them the way they've been playing the last 30 days. 5-on-5 expected goal share, Buffalo 49.91, which I guess is better than what you would expect considering their record as of late. But Edmonton's only 47.29, and they really cost their backers some money as they're normally favored when they play, and they have not been playing very well right now. The Sabres come in having lost 6 straight games, and they now have the 3rd worst record in the league. Your team is starting to become the free space on the bingo card here as Montreal, despite the loss the other day, Montreal's playing some really good hockey. But it's clear right now you need a special reason to back these Sabres. After losing 4 straight games out of the break, the Oilers have run off 3 victories in 4 games since. They beat Carolina on the road and Dallas at home. So that shows this team is continuing to fight, and they do have that talent. They're dangerous every time out. But unfortunately, they only rank 10th in the league in net scoring advantage on the season at plus 19. So you have to say Edmonton has been a bit of a disappointment on the season overall. I lean Edmonton here because I don't want to bet on Buffalo, but there's no way I can confidently lay this type of number on the road. So unfortunately, I'll be sitting this one out.
Sitting it out. Okay, it's not bad. I'm looking at it from, as Andrew says, Carm just likes to get in for the first 20 minutes and then get out for the after that. And I'm looking at the first period over in this one. The Sabres really aren't scoring, but they do so at home. You look at sort of the first period splits for both teams. The Buffalo Sabres 18-13 at home to the first period over. And overall, they're one of the, I think they're the top team as far as over-unders on the season, home and away. But 18-13 in the first period. The Edmonton Oilers 21-9 to the first period over. So that's where I'm leaning. I'm just going to take the first period over, get a couple goals, and switch it to a game that probably has a lot more meaning to it in the Detroit and Ottawa game. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this one?
Carm, right now, this kind of reminds me of baseball. And the reason why it reminds me of baseball is because I find that when a pitcher's not playing well or a team's not playing well, for some reason, I always think, well, they can't keep losing. They can't keep having bad outings. And they do. And so the people that overthink those things are the people that are missing out on free winners every single time that certain pitcher is out on the mound. And I understand people could argue, yeah, well, these days, handicapping baseball isn't all about the pitcher, but sometimes you can really expose a bad pitcher in the first 5 innings. Well, right now, this Buffalo Sabres team is a team you got to fade, and you got to have a real good reason not to. And I think that with this Buffalo Sabres team coming off the loss they're coming off of, typically I'd be looking to back something on them. The first period over, I like that bet as well, Carm. But I like the first period puck line on the Oilers because despite the loss the Sabres are coming off of, it doesn't matter to me. It does not matter to me that they're coming off a loss because usually I talk about motivation, talk about teams bouncing back. This team could only bounce back tonight if they were playing like the San Jose Sharks of 3 years ago. I don't trust them against anybody right now. You trade away Dylan Cousins, second line center. You trade away some defensemen. It's just not a good thing right now for them. And to Brian's point, talking about how this Oilers team hadn't looked great out of the break. And then they had that electrifying game against the Dallas Stars. Guys, that game was unbelievable over the weekend. Of course, it was Mikko Rantanen's debut in a Dallas Stars jersey. First time we've talked about that trade on the show, but they still didn't really shore things up defensively. So again, I think that when you talk about flat spots for certain teams, right? I think that there will be no flat spot here in this one because the Oilers still have not been playing their best hockey. It'd be a different thing if the Oilers came in here and they had won 8 of their last 9 and they've just been cruising around town. Then maybe they'll take the Buffalo Sabres lightly. I just don't see them doing that. And if they do, it will be later in the game when they choke a lead and give something up. But in the first period, I like this plus 130, minus a half goal. That's the way I'm going with this game here. I just think that when I look at these two teams, it's just such a difference right now. And you know what? I will say picking up Wallman might not be the biggest deadline move by any means for the Oilers. He had that really nice stretch pass over to Zach Hyman for the goal he scored. And, picking up the guys that they did to add some depth to their team, I think it helps them out a little bit. So this Oilers team, I think, is going to be focused in this one. So despite it being such a mismatch on paper, and people could argue, well, is there a letdown spot? I don't think there really is. So coming off that poor outing the Buffalo Sabres are off of, doesn't matter to me. I'll continue to fade this team. Brian, I got to get your 2 cents here because you're a baseball guy, and I obviously know that baseball is a lot more than just fading a pitcher. But do you get the sense of what I'm talking about here, where sometimes, you look at a team and you're like, why haven't I bet against them enough? Or why haven't I faded this guy enough? That's kind of how I feel in this spot right here.
Yeah, it's definitely made a lot of sense from what you were saying about baseball. Only difference with baseball is you've got to handicap a lot more, five or six. Actually, this year, a lot of teams going with 6 starting pitchers. So, but I fully understand. It's one of those situations where you look up and one of those teams is on a 6-8 game losing streak, and you go, oh, wait a minute, where was I for this? So yeah, that's it's a little frustrating. And a lot of times people will just look at the streak and say, well, they're just not playing well. But a lot of times there's a lot of luck involved, so you got to give it more of a look than that. But yeah, this team right now out of Buffalo, what's the motivation for the players when they come come to every game. The talent is on the opposite side here, and I can understand why both of you would like to see them scoring some goals in that first period.
Well, hopefully it gets
Andrew,
off to a
they
bang.
just we talk about motivation. There is none. Like you even see like the sound bites that are coming out of Buffalo. You posted that one about Tage Thompson, and the team is just underperforming. They go, uh, they play a pretty good one in Tampa Bay, still end up losing. They blow a 2 or 3 goal lead. I think it was a 2 goal lead, lose that one 6-5 to Tampa Bay, and then they get shut out by Florida. They had nothing left for that one. Now they come home. And they started post-tournament break. They started with a couple of big wins. They scored, I think, 8 goals against. Was it the New York Rangers? I think it was, and then won another game. And now they lost 6 straight games. 29 goals allowed across those 6 games. That's not a very good defensive effort from this team, especially with the Oilers coming to town tonight. So we'll see what the Sabres have. But I always talk about, and I know you can't do it, but in the NHL, I talk about, okay, this is the time that the Sabres need to tank to have one of the 3 worst records in the NHL to have a shot at that first pick in the draft. It's tough to tank in the NHL unless you're sitting stars, unless you're bringing up guys from your AHL affiliate and putting them in there, and maybe not starting Pekka Luukkonen, but that then becomes obvious that you're trying not to win games, and the NHL is not going to allow that. But we love to use the word tank. I'd like to see this team tank and finish in last. But the Pittsburgh Penguins are giving them a good run for their money as far as finishing in last place, although they did get a win in Minnesota. But any thoughts on that tanking, Andrew?
Like you said, it's harder to do in the NHL with the system, with the way that they have it set up. Obviously, certain teams can be, put in situations to guarantee themselves maybe a top 5 pick, top 3 or 4 pick. But once you get there to that draft lottery, when is that, Carm? It's like during the first round of the playoffs, right? They do that, I think, before the games, I think,
Yeah.
in the first round of the playoffs. So, yeah, you need to put yourself in that position. But, the biggest thing I always say is that there's a difference between like a tanking team and if you look at the Sharks. I keep on saying this, but look at the Sharks right now this season, and then look at the Ottawa Senators, guys. Just from a hockey fan perspective, Carm, the Sharks are not good. But when you watch their games, they're having a hell of a lot more fun out there than Connor Bedard is with the Hawks. And I think it's because of where they are in the rebuild and kind of how the team has done it, where they've pretty much just said, you've got Tyler Toffoli, a couple other older guys, and then it's just like a daycare over there. It's like Anaheim right now. They have a lineup of guys that are 20 years old or under, or 23 years old or under. That's pretty impressive. So it'd be kind of hard for them to win, right? The average age on their team is 24 years old. But if you're a team like Buffalo, when you have older players, that's where it gets a little bit tough, Carm, because right now they're bad and old. They need to get younger and draft. So at least they kind of made some changes at the deadline. So we'll see what they can do. Hopefully they can stay healthy. And I guess we'll go from there. But let's talk about Johnny Detroit's beloved Red Wings, Carm, if that's all right. Good to move on.
Yeah, good to move on. But I will say this, even if the Sabres were to get first pick in the draft, they always find a way of screwing things up. But you look at some of the draft years for the Sabres, the year in which they finished with the number 2 pick, who goes number 1? Connor McDavid. Then the Sabres have in 2016 the Austin Matthews year in which Austin Matthews goes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Sabres had the 8th pick and pick up Alexander Nylander. Where is this guy? Yeah, I think he played 2 games with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That guys like Matthew Tkachuk, Patrick Laine, Pierre-Luc Dubois, all in that draft. Sergachev in that draft. Charlie McAvoy, a ton of players but this team gets it wrong each and every time. But I digress. We're talking Ottawa and Detroit. Andrew, you're too young to remember the Europe song, The Final Countdown, but this is the final countdown for the Detroit Red Wings. They have the Ottawa Senators up tonight, the Buffalo Sabres up next. They need both games. They have to win both games. Must win does not mean they're going to win. Their schedule gets a little tougher. They played, I thought, extremely well against Washington for 40 minutes of play and then just fell apart, allowed 4 goals in the third period, lose that one. They just needed a strong 20 minutes against Washington, pick up 2 points, and that confidence just comes back. I like him in this spot. I don't know why. I'm trying to, I wish I could explain why I like him in this spot. I just think that as good as Ottawa's playing, these two teams have played some really close ones this year. I think 2-1 and 3-2 game that went to overtime. Detroit's the type of team that can give Ottawa fits if Detroit is playing well for 60 minutes. They've got to play well for 60 minutes. They've got to win this game in regulation time. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a flyer here and take the Red Wings plus 135 in a spot that most people likely think they lose the game. I'm taking plus 135 here. Brian?
Going out on a flyer, you scared me. I thought you were going to give out the Philadelphia team, but they're not even playing today. Yeah, I agree with just about everything you said here. As poorly as the Red Wings have played lately, they still own a 50.87 expected goal share in 5-on-5 play the last month. So they're not getting the victories, but they are playing pretty well. Ottawa comes in that same time frame at 47.14, even though they've had the better record. You take a look at the net goal advantage. The Senators have that by 20 on the season. But as you mentioned, the Red Wings have lost 5 straight games, and you really have to consider this contest as their biggest game of the season. They're being tied right now with Boston and Montreal at 66 points and trailing these Senators by 3 points in the standings. And to their credit, Detroit has been solid on the road this year. They're 14, 12, and 3. And as you mentioned, these two teams have split the first 2 meetings of the season. I believe they were both 1-goal games. Ottawa has gotten off to a solid start in March, winning 3 of 4. The lone loss coming at Washington on the road. Nothing to complain about there. But this has been a strong home ice for the Sens. 18-9-2 on the season. But this line is way too high based on the importance of this game between the two teams, especially for the visitor. Detroit, as I mentioned, played better overall for the last month in goal share. And right now, people are losing faith in Detroit, and they're really liking Ottawa at this point. But when you take a look at these two teams on the season, I don't think either team should be favored by more than 130 at home for either team, the way they've been playing all season long. With the importance of this game for Detroit, I like Detroit in this one. I'll play the Red Wings here, and I expect them to get this victory.
For me, I'm going to look at guys the under in this game, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that, you know, I know that in big games, more and more these days we have seen scoring, and I know that empty net goals can be a really big factor in these games because, hell, if you don't win, you're gonna go out swinging, right? But at the end of the day, when you look at this Detroit team that hasn't won a single game since the calendar flipped to March, and you know this playoff race is here, it's alive right now. It's unfortunately for my Canadians pretty much a 3-horse race. I guess we could say 4: Columbus, New York, Detroit, Ottawa, as far as the wild card is concerned. And Detroit, no matter who they've had in goal, they haven't been very happy with the results of their goaltending. And so some might say, well, then why are you taking the under? Because I think there's going to be a huge emphasis on defense today for the Detroit Red Wings. And the funny thing is about Linus Ullmark and the goaltending crew over there for Ottawa is, although they've had success lately, they haven't really been too satisfied with their efforts either. So I feel like we're going to get good goaltending on both sides, a really good emphasis on defense. And, you know, I wouldn't mind sprinkling the draw bet on this one either, because I'll tell you what, guys, as a Habs fan, when I'm watching the Rangers and Sens game on Saturday, the only thing I'm saying to myself is please, please, please don't go to overtime. And then, of course, the game is 3-1. And just like that, it's off to overtime. And a minute into overtime, Brady Tkachuk scores. So every point matters in these games, guys. And I think that every lead matters in these. And especially when a team gets a lead, where we are sitting right now on March 10th versus if we're talking on November 10th, teams aren't looking to add to their lead as much as they're looking to protect the leads, I find these days. It's very important if you go up 2-1 and, there's a dying minutes in the second period, you want to go into that period with that lead. You start the third period, you want to protect that lead, get that one insurance goal, and then sit on that lead. So I like the under in Detroit and Ottawa tonight. I think we're going to see a defensive battle. And I truly believe that for Detroit's sake, going goal for goal is not a good thing. And this team is desperate for a win. So this one should feel like a real playoff battle here, Carmen. I'm looking for an under style of hockey here.
I don't blame you, Andrew. This is the same. Listen, as much as like Brian mentioned, they've lost like 5 games straight. This is the same Detroit team that at the end of January, I think the 23rd until like the 2nd or 3rd of February, over the course of 13 days, won 7 games. A 7-game streak right now would, I think every Detroit fan would love any type of a winning streak. 7 games might be unrealistic, but this team's still in the playoff race. They just need to start stringing together a bunch of wins. Andrew, before we go to the props segment, I messaged Stat Daddy Ralph Michaels this morning because we're not discussing the Colorado game on today's show, and rightfully so. The Colorado Avalanche tonight are, as I'm looking at the WagerTalk live lines, which are absolutely free, minus 560 on Colorado tonight. So Ralph came up with this stat, and I'm not sure if we can get it up on the screen. If we can't, don't worry about it, Dan, because you'd have to squint, and I only have one good eye anyways. But NHL favorites of 400 or more, minus 400 or more, since 2021 are hitting at 82.4%, 82.4% winners, but you are only up 2 units in 4+ years. And with a team like Colorado coming off a win, 77 in 22, 77.8%, but down 51 units when coming off a win. And Colorado is coming off a win over the Toronto Maple Leafs, beating them 7-4. Absolutely insane. And I know guys love to go with let me just add Colorado into the parlay to get a few more bucks. Those are the ones, Andrew. Yeah. We know those are the ones at the end of the night somehow go up in flames, and then our live chat is just littered with F Colorado. I hate the Colorado. This team is trash. Absolutely love those comments. Guys, just completely disregard this game. Do not take it. Minus 560 is absolutely insane that you can hit 83% and you're only up 2 units over a series of games. So with that said, Andrew, I'm going to throw it over to you for our props segment because I'm pretty sure you don't have any minus 560s on your props.
No, I certainly don't. And if I ever do, guys, it sure as hell better hit if I'm taking a prop at minus 500 and a price like that. Before I jump into the 2 props I have for today, guys, I got a really good deal going. And kind of a unique one that I'm going to start doing a little bit more as far as promo codes and that stuff goes. So I do have a big play going tonight in the NHL, potentially 2 plays actually. But I have a promo code, guys, that's only good for the first 10 buyers. And this promo code is AM50, which will take $50 off a 30-day NHL all-access pass. Sides, totals, team totals, first period plays, props, whatever it is that I release, you guys will get, but only the first 10 people. So if you guys are interested, the 4% plays and 5% plays have been unbelievable. 5% plays, number 1 at the website. crushed these 5% plays over the last 2 years. 5% plays alone are $35. This is $129, guys, with the promo code for 30 days of all my NHL plays. So really locked in right now. Had a pretty good weekend, seeing the board well. Had a nice winner yesterday to start the day off and some free play winners as well. So first 10 guys right now at my page, wt.buzz/AM. AM50 is the promo code. Getting to the props, guys. Ottawa Senators. I mentioned I like that game to be kind of a playoff type game. But a player that's been playing really well for them right now is Timmy Stützle. Tim Stützle has been great for the Ottawa Senators, especially at home. So he has a point in 9 straight home games for the Ottawa Senators. But the price on that one isn't great. And as Carmine was talking about, long-term, betting some of these bad prices, not good for your bankroll. So how about we turn the high price of Stützle to get a point into a -115 price for him to record an assist? And that's the way I'm going to go here. You take a high minus like 190 or even 200 to a -115. This guy has an assist in 7 straight home games. He is a playmaker. He is not just a shooter, and he's a big part of this Ottawa Senators team. So I'll take him and keep riding the streak. We've given this out before on the show. We'll keep riding the streak, and if it loses tonight, we'll bet it again in the next home game for the Ottawa Senators. The next one that we are going to look at is in the Avalanche game. We're going to look at Brock Nelson, and he's a guy that I'm just like, when I look at kind of how he's played and kind of who he is for this Avalanche team, I think that he is going to be someone that's going to have a huge offensive impact. Of course, comes from a team like the Islanders that really wasn't much of a high-scoring team by any means, and that's taking it lightly on them. Now you go play for a team like the Avalanche, and I'll tell you what, guys, the price that you're seeing on this +140, the price you're seeing is because the books have not adjusted for the fact that he's playing on the Avalanche. The books still think this guy's playing for the Islanders, guys. +140, he's playing with Drouin and Val Nichushkin. Nichushkin got a hat trick on Saturday night, and that was the guy that Nelson was passing the puck to on Saturday night. Second line center for the Colorado Avalanche, out there on the power play, and you're going to give me +140 for this guy to get an assist. I got to take that one. So 2 player props, guys, I like quite a bit. And Carmine, I've really been falling in love with the assist market as you get much better prices on these player props. And we'll talk a lot more about props on the show once the playoffs start, because obviously we get to see these guys play each other multiple times, the same teams going head-to-head over and over again.
Hey, Andrew, I like them. While you were doing that, I was actually just looking up something. I don't know why this stuff kind of interests me, but I was looking at, because I was talking about the Colorado Avalanche and Chicago. The season series thus far is 2-0 for Chicago. They won in Colorado, and they won at home. They've beaten Colorado in both games, home and away this season. They're going to play a couple more games, one of them tonight. Even more reason not to want to play this game. I'm beating a dead horse here. I don't know why I'm doing it, Brian. Speaking of beating a dead horse, the Toronto Maple Leafs and their 3-game losing streak are in Utah tonight. This line is close to a pick 'em, Brian. I'm a little bit surprised on this one. -120 for the Leafs, even money on Utah right now. How are you breaking this one down?
Well, before we get to this one, I do want to let people know that I've talked about the special we have going on for the last 2 times I've been on the show. It ends tomorrow. So this is a little bit urgent here if you're trying to take a look at our baseball and hockey package. Baseball, #1 in the history of WagerTalk in Major League Baseball net profit. The 2 of the last 3, in fact, you take the last 2 years combined, we're #1 in Major League Baseball net profit. Season starts in only 8 days in Japan. The Cubs and the Dodgers, and then about a week later than that, it's here. It's baseball season, and so we can take advantage of that. And that's only was it $5.99, I believe is what they put. It's normally about $1,000. So if you're able to get that, it's a great deal, but it's only going on till tomorrow night. Now, I know tomorrow is Customer Appreciation Day. Everybody's excited about that, but make sure you take advantage of this right now. And once again, the reason I'm mentioning it here on the Hockey Show is you can get the hockey for the rest of the season for only $1 more. $600. Get you everything. Number one in the history and net profit in the NHL here at WagerTalk. And since Carmine's on the show today with me, current number one in the last 30 days in the NHL. And I expect to sweep the board tonight. So get that $600 to get all that up there right now. It ends tomorrow night. All right, got that out of the way. Now let's take a look at the hockey game. Toronto at Utah. 5-on-5 play the last 30 days. The Maple Leafs own a 41.83 expected goal share. That's pretty bad. While the Utah team sits at a strong 58.65. On the season, Toronto owns a 23 net goal advantage. Toronto's been good on the road this year, 18-11-2 mark, while Utah struggled at home, 12-13-6 in their new arena. Maple Leafs started after the break red hot, actually winning 6 straight games, but since they've lost to San Jose, Vegas, and Colorado, the latter two by 3-goal margins, so they're not playing well right now. They need to do much better here if they want to get this victory. Utah teams playing a little bit better as of late, especially at home. I mentioned their home record on the season, but they've won 4 of the last 5. And it takes a while. Beginning of the season, they are just as lost as everybody else is in this building because they haven't played there long. Now they're starting to understand how to play here in this building. And that might be one of the reasons why Utah is near a pickup situation here. And, based on the 5-on-5 play between these two recently, it's hard to back Toronto as a road favorite. I'll take this improving Utah team home. Is a slight home dog here. Most of the money's come in that way so far. I still find value on Utah at home against Toronto.
Right, Brian, I'm with you on this. It's more of the numbers I'm seeing, what the books are hanging. The Leafs. This is a game the Leafs are supposed to win. Going in off of a bad defensive performance in Vegas, in which they pretty much had their doors blown off in the first period, and then they lose one late to Colorado, having the lead in that one, and then allowing Colorado to fight back and win that one. It's a game in Utah that they're supposed to win. But I'm looking at like 2 of the sharper books, if not probably the sharpest books right now, and they have the lowest price on the Leafs right now, at -111. One being Circa, one being Pinnacle. To me, those are the books you look at, or at least I look at when I'm looking at prices. You're seeing -150 and -120 at other books. I'm willing to take Utah in this spot. Listen, good teams have bad runs, and that's what it is right now for the Leafs. Bad run. They're going to get back on it, but they have to be better defensively than they have been their last 3 games. Losing that game, blowing a lead at home to the San Jose Sharks, losing in OT, and then hitting the road. And these first 2 on the West Coast haven't been their best games, but we'll see what they have tonight. This is not going to make my card. But if I had to lean, the lean is on Utah tonight. Andrew?
Yeah, guys, look, it definitely hasn't been a good go for the Leafs recently, and that's putting it lightly as well. Obviously that some of the losses, you look back and you're like, man, they shouldn't have lost that one. But I also see them lose to the Avalanche and the Knights. Those gains, whether it's been goaltending, grade A chances given up, defense, whatever it might have been, it's just, I was watching the game on Saturday night with a buddy of mine that's a Leafs fan, and we had one TV on the Habs game, one TV on the Leafs fan, and as Brian knows, one game had a bit more goals than the other. And so we're watching the Leafs game, and I said to him, do you really want your Leafs to go first to 5 wins against this Avalanche team, first to 6 wins against the Avalanche? And we all know what the answer is because we all saw what happened. Like 7-4 was the final score. So I think the under 6 is the play today. So another under I'm liking for today. I think we're going to see a defensive game here. I think that Utah has underrated goaltending, underrated defensive abilities. And, I think that this is going to be a game for Toronto that, after the closed door meeting they had yesterday and kind of the team meeting they had overall, where they're going to kind of regroup and try to play more of a defensive game. You can't go out there and play pond hockey, whether you're playing against Colorado or whether you're playing against Utah. This is a team that nobody cares about what Toronto does in the regular season anymore. And they pick up Scott Lawton, they pick up Charlie Coyle, and that was it for their trade deadline acquisitions. So a good two-way forward and a rock-solid top four defenseman. That's it. So this team right now needs to prepare for the playoffs. The Leafs, we've all said it, but they have one round win in the Austin Matthews era. Nobody cares anymore what they do in the regular season. So they got to start playing like a playoff team right now. And in the playoffs last year, every single game that they played against Boston was like 2-1, 3-1, low scoring. So that's what they need to do tonight to get out of their slump. And I think that that's the best bet here, is to take the under 6 and look for a defensive battle. So obviously two teams with a lot of young talent and a lot of scoring ability. But with that being said, I think we're going to see a defensive effort out of both teams. And again, I think two teams with very good goaltending, especially Utah, underrated goalies. So I'll take the under 6 in this one here, guys.
All right, Andrew. Let's see an exciting game on to end the night. Exciting could be a 3-2 game, or how about 1-1 going to overtime. But with that said, guys, don't forget, tomorrow is a $5 customer appreciation. As Brian said, there are a ton of plays, a ton of cappers with these $5 plays, and you're getting them instead of paying $25 or $35. And Andrew, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention you have a 5% play going tonight in the NHL. You've been on a fantastic run as well too. Don Buster, our regular Wednesday guest, has a 5% play up, so you can catch that over at WagerTalk as well too. Brian, what do you got up at WagerTalk? And give us a show best bet.
I have nothing up now, but I will soon, and I'll be on the WagerTalk today. Just a few minutes talk some more hockey as well as some college basketball. So when that's all done, I'll have everything up for the day. Looks to be a pretty strong day overall. But I'm going to go for my best bet, and I'm going to go back to that Detroit game, taking them as the as the underdog here, and we're getting them at what I consider to be a pretty fair number. And you just watched the analysis a little while ago. If you missed it, just go on back. We're running a little late, so I'll be short on this one. And good luck to both of you guys, both the guys with the 5% today. And let's do some more sweeping here.
Let's get it done, Brian. Keep it going, man. Best of luck tonight. And I love the honesty, man. I just love he's like, Brian's like, I've been sweeping a lot, whether it's been me getting swept or me sweeping the board. It's just, are you sweeping at home though? That's the thing. Are you doing any chores around the house, Brian? Are you sweeping physically or just on the board? Maybe your better half will have something to say about that to you. And maybe you don't want us asking you about that, but keep sweeping the board. And best of luck tonight. We got a quiet but solid NHL card tonight here on a Monday night. And Carm, you send us a few soccer plays. Send me over some soccer plays. So you got soccer going, you got NHL going. Great weekend that you had. So any more promotional stuff that you have going right now?
Yeah. So those ones go on Thursday. I have a Thursday Europa League 2-pack that is up now. Champions League for tomorrow and Wednesday are going up. But one play up in the NHL tonight. It's the 4% best bet. Let's see if we can keep that run going. Yesterday, the 4% best bet was a winner with Carolina knocking off the Winnipeg Jets. I thought it was a great spot for Carolina, and they came through quite easily. So let's see if we can keep that run going. One play up tonight. You can get it on my page. You can use code. Melissa has extended it till Wednesday at midnight. Code ICE100. ICE100 will get you the rest of the NHL season and the NHL playoffs. That'll knock $100 off of that package. A bunch of you took advantage of that last week. And at the right time, because we are going on a good run. I'm going to run down Brian one way or another. I am going to run him down if I have to get to Vegas in order to do so. The show free play. I'm going to go with Utah in the final game of the night. Given this bad eye I have, guys, if you notice I'm blinking a lot, the eye drops aren't really working. I don't want to watch that game tonight, but I will be cheering for one side in that one. Utah plus 105. They're down to even money now. I'm seeing on our WagerTalk live lines, but let's see if they get the job done tonight. Andrew, I'll send it to you to give us a free play and close it off.
Carmine betting on a team without a name, the Utah Hockey Club, as the show best bet here today. Good luck, Carm. Let's cash some tickets tonight. And again, guys, the only thing I'm going to promote is that great deal. That is a awesome special. AM50, first 10 people to buy it. We already had 2 of you guys join me on this live during puck time. So 8 remaining. AM50 to get a 1 month all access NHL, $129, save $50. Sides, totals, team totals, first period, full game, every single thing that I bet. Most importantly, what all you guys seem to care about the most, the 5% plays. And those 5% plays have gone very well. So you guys can get that deal. Only active for today, only good for the first 10 people. AM50. Take $50 off a 30-day NHL pass. But we're going to go Oilers minus a half goal, first period, plus 130. Any time I can find a way to get plus money in any way, shape, or form against the Buffalo Sabres, I'm going to do that. And with this game, we have to do it in the first period. So we'll fade the new free space on the bingo card, the Buffalo Sabres, and take the Oilers in the first period. Thanks so much for watching Puck Time, guys. As always, please do us a favor and smash the crap out of that like button to start off your week. It helps us out big time. We don't even care if, you watched just the best bets, you watched just one segment, you didn't want to hear anything I said, you just watched these guys, vice versa. Just hit the like button. Show us some love. It really helps us out here at WagerTalk. We got a new show coming up at 12 o'clock Eastern time, WagerTalk today. Joe Ranieri hosting. Prez is on vacation, so if you want to hear Joe and the rest of the crew, tune into that show as well. We'll see you guys next time right here on WagerTalk TV.